Hi, I'm Rob Cram, and today we're taking a look at Brace Yourself Games' Industries of Titan. Now, I've been playing it for a number of hours, and I've sat through a load of bugs and crashes and all sorts of nonsense that you'd expect from an early access game, but the developers have worked tirelessly to see these resolved. So I'm able to reload my main sort of game where I'd spent quite a number of hours building up my city and overtaking and spreading my influence across the lands of Titan. Just to fill you in on the basics then, as you can see, the developers have got a roadmap planned for quite a lot of extra stuff. So the basic game at the moment is not feature complete and has a lot more stuff to add, including the ship-to-ship combat, which we've seen in some of the earlier footage. So what I'm doing now is I'm basically destroying any rebel camps that surround my sort of base that I've built up. My influence is spreading, which enables me to overtake their bases. It's quite a simple procedure, and then what they do is they send ships to your populated areas and they try to destroy you, but obviously you destroy them before they can do that. So in my previous video that I uploaded, I put the tutorial so you can see that how you start out the game. This is just going into the full sort of end game now, I would assume. I think you can probably continue playing once all the rebel camps are bested. Now, I haven't been very methodical in terms of how I've structured my camp. It's kind of a bit sporadic, as you can see, but I have got quite a good network of defense. You can see here the defensive turrets in groups of 3. I found that the rebel ships, when they come flying in, they tend to sort of focus on specific areas. So here's my main headquarters, and obviously if that is destroyed, then it's game over for everything, which has happened to me before when I was ill prepared. So basically, just to give you a rundown of what you do here, you start off with a basic factory. Look at one of these, and I'll enter it. And inside the factory you sort of build up energy, fuel, storage for that, storage for minerals, and then you can get your workers to go out there and collect the resources from the lands, bring it back to you, and then you can build more stuff. You then have to sort of build extra items which allow you to earn credits, which enables you to buy more stuff to build, to give you a bit more of a automated process. So for example, now instead of generating energy from within the factory, I've managed to build an energy plant which provides energy on the outside, which means you don't have to worry about the building itself inside, and you can actually join 2 of them together. There's one of them singly, and this is here where they're joined together for better efficiency. You can't join all buildings together. I've tried to demonstrate that. It didn't work. I thought I could join the 2 defense turrets together to make a super turret, but that didn't work. But only things like the power plants, offices, factories, energy depots, that sort of thing. So you've got to be mindful of things like waste that can build up and cause pollution, which can have an adverse effect on your society. I think there's an element of where you place buildings. I don't think that's so much having an effect here. I mean, I've got this residential right next to the factories. I know in some games of this type that can have an adverse effect on the populace, but it seems to not be an issue here yet. I think the developers will probably include stuff like that, so you've got to be mindful. So it's a bit of a hodgepodge of buildings and stuff that I've got here, and my current, as you can see, there's branches that are leading out. So this sort of area here in the center is my main sort of hub, where every building's been upgraded to its maximum level. It's all sort of running very smoothly, and then I've built all these sort of power networks which has enabled me to sort of spread out kind of like a spider web of feelers into the open areas that are unexplored. And as you can see, you've got this sort of fog of war around the outside, so you don't know where the rebels' bases are. So you have to send out these feelers by building these command centers, they've got to be powered, so you've got to build a network of these pylons to power them, and you can see one right here which I've just overtaken. And what you can do is just claim those lands if it sits within your area of operation. To expand that, then you build another command center and upgrade it to give you more vision and more area of influence. So enough talking. I think let's just get the game playing. As I said, if you want to see the basics of how it starts up, then check the other video which goes through the opening sort of tutorial. I mean, I'm quite far into this game now. Let's just put it on slow speed. Everything's pretty much running very smoothly. I've got enough energy resources, you can tell me there. Lots of energy resources. The network of power distribution is working well, as you can see with all these lines that are showing that working efficiently. And I've got a pretty decent defense. The only problem is some of my storage is not as good as it could be, so stuff is perhaps going to waste. But as you can see here, I've got maximum influence points or council communication, which is what you use to buy up the land or claim it. And then I've got a quite high employee count. Not many citizens living here, but I can get more. So what you do is go to the spaceport, buy that, and that's 10 more citizens, and then I can convert those to workers, loyal workers. Any idle citizens will earn money in the office block, which is giving me 10 credits per second, but I'm on the maximum 50,000. So there comes a point where credits are not really used unless you've got lots of repairs after a heavy attack. That's when you'll have to use the credits. But in the sort of early part of the game, credits are extremely useful for upgrading all of these items here, where you'll have to buy them, and they cost quite a bit of money to buy them initially. Then once you've bought them, that's it. So I think perhaps they need to think more of what you can do with credits once you've got this to this sort of point in time in the game. So where to next? If I look at the map, let's just close it off. You can see in the bottom left corner here, there's an area to the right which I've already explored. Here's the base here, which I've taken out their headquarters. So that's them taken care of. And they've got this area to the south here, which I've already just taken the headquarters. So I think the last bastion of the rebels in this part of the Titan, which is Saturn's moon, if you didn't know, are going to be to the west. So I need to expand into this area. So you've got all these kind of ruins, which are your kind of basic building blocks for when you first start the game. They become less useful once you've managed to get your own resources from things like the mineral nodes. So what I need to do now is expand my network, my power network, so I can reach another command center a bit further afield. So I need to get another energy. There's probably another way you can do this. I'm just doing it this way. Let's just upgrade that quickly. I mean, you can change the speed as well, and that will give me more coverage for connection. So I've got quite a bit of territory here under my control. So I'm going to head to the west side. You can see the guys working hard to get that built up. So I'm doing it at 2 times speed. So what do I think of this game? Yeah, it's very involving, very rewarding as well when you get it right. And I think there's quite a few things that you can modify before you start the game. Obviously there's different levels of difficulty, but there's also lots of modifiers that you can change just to give your game, make it a bit easier or a bit tougher depending on your skill level. So I'm not the biggest RTS or city building gamer. It's not something that I'm too familiar with. I mean, I've played things like SimCity in the past. I'm just going to dump that there, I think. And then I need to get another command center So I'm not going to upgrade that actually, I'm just going to keep it right on the edge. So what I'll do is I'll claim that spot of land, go to military, add a command center, build that there. So what you can do now, this is, I think this needs a bit of work though. It seems to be a bit hit and miss. Is the build queue, the sort of the queue in terms of what the workers are going to prioritize. So I found that you have to keep swapping that round depending, but I mean I've got such a massive workforce now that I think I've got into a good rhythm where they're going to start doing stuff properly without too much intervention. So that's now been completed, that pylon. As I said, I don't think this is the only way that you can distribute your power around the city, because you can actually build a factory and have energy created from within the factory, and then you can build another outlet that way. But I'm keeping it all on the same grid, so all of its shared power from all of these energy towers that I've got. Right, command center. And there they are. There's the last rebels. So that was a good find. I knew they were going to be located in the west. So let's upgrade this. I think by the time they even get a chance to attack, I would have overtaken them. And it would be game over for the rebels. They'll be quashed. And I'll then be able to live in my utopian city. Now I think what I would probably like to do, if it doesn't end the game, is to start focusing on building a really nice sort of city where you've got residential areas separated from the industrial. You've got all of your kind of resource gathering all in one area. Just have it sort of compartmentalized, making it a lot more easier on the eyes rather than a bit of a mess that it looks at the moment. So this is purely been sort of just to get to the end game of quashing the rebels. There's been no sort of planning behind how I've layered it. So I can then dismantle stuff and start focusing on that a bit more if I wanted to. But right, there's the headquarters. It's slightly out of my range. I think if I can upgrade that command center one more, that might just do it for me. But yeah, I mean, this has taken a long time to get to this point. I mean, I think with any of the types of games of this ilk, what tends to happen is you do reach a point where you've got an abundance of resources and finances to do as you please. And then the sort of game will throw in some random element like an earthquake which destroys half of your city. Well, there's none of that here. The only threat that you have is your own management skills and these rebels. So this sort of, on the normal difficulty, started out with 5 rebel camps, and I've whittled that down to just 1, and I think that is slightly out of my area there. Yep. So what I need to do is expand just a bit further. So let's get some more power. So I'm going to have to claim some of these areas here. Just extract those so that I can then build on those areas. So I can actually start claiming some of this stuff here though already, just to let my presence be felt. Alright, build a pylon. Yep, connected. Then I'll build another. I think here we'll do it. It's a bit close. But that's all I need really. So if I go here, just claim that, salvage it. Once that waste is cleared off of that plot, then I can build on it. Okay, pylon's being built, but I need some flat land. I can actually claim this here. Should be good. I dismantle that. And that should be enough for me to build my next. Right, that's cool. I need to upgrade that just a bit. Let's speed things up a bit here. Well, that's being dismantled, that's good. And once that's upgraded, I should then be able to build my command center on here. Once that's upgraded here. Okay, let's do it. Once that's built, we're all good in the hood. Cool. Oh, it's not cleared yet, is it? Right now it's cleared. Right. That's it. So once that's built now, I can then take the headquarters and the rebels will be fully extinguished from my map. Then there'll be no other threats at all. Let's just slow it down a bit. The building. That's it, it's going up. Right, the first thing I'm going to do is take that headquarters. They're finished. Now I think if they were to attack me now, just before this happens, the ship would still continue its course. Unfortunately, once you take the headquarters, if the ships are out, then they won't stop their action, unfortunately. But I think I'm so well defended. Right, claim, that's it. Oh, it's paused the game. Victory. And that's game time. 13 hours, 44 minutes. So if I continue in endless mode, I can now continue my city building as mentioned. Well, there you go. You've seen the end game. And you've seen that you're able to continue, which is cool. Let me just save this and go back to the menu just to give you an idea of some of the other modes that you can play. So let's just... No, I can't claim all of that. I'd have to upgrade my command center. Anyway, let's just go back to the menu and save this. Right. So I think once the game's got a lot more features in, I mean, it does feel quite bare bones at the moment. That wasn't too difficult for me to get to the end game. As you can see here, lots of different elements, riots and stuff like that, salaries, happiness, so that's going to be quite interesting. Transport routes. So if we go to the, I mean, I like the look of that entertainment center as well. Keep your population happy, because I think at the moment the only thing that the citizens can do other than be converted into workers is go into the offices and earn you cash, but there's no other recreation for them or anything like that. So if we select new game, you can see that there's a survival mode, 4 levels of difficulty on each. So I was playing on normal, on the standard mode. You've got a Zen mode where you don't have any enemies at all, which is interesting. Then you've got these survival, which will be pretty tough. So if I go back to the standard mode again, more factions will be added. This one's locked. So So you choose your faction. Again, that will have different elements to your starting game and how you proceed. And then you've got these kind of tiered difficulties as well, which add an extra layer to it as well. So very few. But then you've got the option to customize it, so you can change the lakes, crevasses, minerals. So you can make it a lot easier, a lot tougher, and you can actually increase the rebel camps, which is quite interesting. So there's a lot to play with. But you've got this wicked soundtrack, and you know, it's just a cool game so far. I think the developers, Brace Yourself Games, are giving it a year in early access, and they'll get all of this extra stuff done. And I think it's going to be a pretty cool game. I mean, I like the visuals. I like this kind of futuristic aesthetic. It's very good. And I think if you look here, that looks like it's more of a snowy location, which is quite interesting. So I'm not sure how you would get that. So yeah, a lot to look forward to, and developers are well on point in fixing some of the issues. I mean, I couldn't load my save game. It kept crashing, but that was yesterday. Today they've released an update and I've managed to get that fixed, which is cool. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. This is Industries of Titan. It's available on the Epic Games Store. Yes, I know that's going to annoy some people. I think it will come to Steam in about a year's time, and I think when it does come to Steam, it will be feature complete anyway. So wait until then. Or if you want to sample it now, then it's available now, and it's pretty cheap as well. I think it's about 20 quid, around that sort of price point, 25 quid maximum. Okay, I'm Rob Cram. Thanks for watching. This is Industries of Titan.